Howdy friends, family, YouTube, shirkers, lurkers, anybody else that's sticky beaking on the side. Been a little while since I've done a video. I'm actually struggling to get any ideas for content. So if anybody else is out there that's wanting to know anything, got any ideas, please comment. I'm always open to comments. I try to get back to people pretty quickly. But yeah, weather's not the greatest. I have been for a couple of rides, but I haven't bothered taking the camera with me. The weather's deteriorated again, so I'm stuck inside. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do for some content? And I thought, for anybody who's interested, I would talk a little bit about safety and more predominantly my safety equipment, the type of clothing that I wear, type of gear that I've purchased over a period of time that suits me for my style of motorcycling. And on the topic of safety, for those of you that do ride, I've got a couple of gripes, a couple of habits that have crept in. Well, one of them is a habit that's crept in. One of them seems to be a legalized habit, which I don't agree with. The bad habit that I've seen is where I live on a main road. We've got quite a length of this road has got a painted flush median on it, and I get really pissed off with the amount of motorcyclists that live out here on the peninsula who use it as their own personal drag strip. If they took any notice of the road code, medium strip is not allowed to be used for overtaking other vehicles. It's for the safe transition to and from the right, i.e. coming out of your driveway, coming out of a side street, turning into a side street, anything on that requires a right-hand turn. It's supposed to be a safe haven to sit in so you don't block off the lanes from the road. I fear that one day there's going to be a head-on when someone's innocently sitting in the medium strip using it for the intended purpose and waiting to turn right into a side street, and a motorcyclist comes roaring up the lane and smashes straight into the front of them. Guys, stop using the medium strip as a drag strip. Now, the other little safety thing that I don't necessarily agree with is lane filtering, lane splitting, whatever you want to call it. I have done it on a couple of occasions, but under very strict conditions, when I'm late for appointments, especially when I've got to go all the way over to Panmure to Honda in Auckland for a service on the CBR. The Northern Motorway is just always at a standstill first thing in the morning, because I typically try to get the first appointment so that I'm not hanging around the branch any longer than I need to. First on the ramp, first cab off the ramp, should I say, and the service takes as long as it takes. Whereas if I'm during the day and they're running late, that it just adds to my hanging around in the car park waiting for my bike to be finished. I don't believe in lane splitting as a rule, or filtering as a rule. I much prefer to stop some distance back in my designated lane as if I was sitting in a car, and I try to sit where I can be seen by the car in front, and I stay in gear and keep an eye on my rear view mirrors for anybody roaring up behind me, because everyone says, oh, you're just going to get rear-ended and you're going to become the meat in the sandwich between two cars. But if you're keeping an eye on your mirrors and you've got an escape route in between the lane of traffic or down the side of the car, you've got somewhere to go. I would much rather worry about one car behind me than lane filter and worry about several cars. From a safety viewpoint, we all know that everybody loves changing lanes and not sticking to their lanes, all that sort of thing. And it just worries me if you're in a queue of traffic on a motorway, just idling along at a slow speed. We all know that everybody changes lanes, that sort of thing. And you just leave yourself wide open, in my opinion. So I'd rather worry about one car behind me than every pair of cars that I go down between. So I just stick to my lane. But anyway, enough of that. Oh, there's my phone going off. A little bit about my gear. We're in the middle of winter, or towards the end of winter now, so it's cold going out riding, and I figure most people don't like riding during the winter time because it's a fairly cold and miserable time. So I'm a big believer in dressing for the occasion, make the experience as comfortable as possible. So I've got what I term as being very good wet weather gear. And when it comes to warmth on the bikes, I've got thermal tops that I wear. I've got thermal pants that I wear. So I have several layers. It's all about the layers. And layering is one of the reasons why I've had a couple of people say, why is your safety equipment so big in size? You know, I look like the Michelin Man when I've got all my gear on. But I'm a big believer in having all the appropriate layers of clothing on underneath the safety gear. Unlike a lot of people who wear a jacket that fits them, and especially pants that fit them fairly firmly, they get to where they're going and they've got to wear what they wear for the entire time that they're there. Whereas if I go to someone's house and I'm going to be there for a few hours, when I get there, I can strip off my safety gear and I've still got my ordinary clothes underneath. I don't like sitting in my motorcycle equipment for hours on end when I'm at someone's house, or if you have an appointment somewhere or anything like that. So all of my jackets and my pair of pants and stuff are sized accordingly. They're oversized so that I can wear my normal clothes underneath and be able to do up the zips on the jacket and so forth. So I'll start off with my helmet. As some of you may have already seen, I have an LS2 Vector 2 helmet. I'm relatively happy with it. It wasn't the helmet that I went to get. I'm a little bit annoyed that they don't seem to carry the spares in New Zealand. I went to get a new visor and there's not a single visor in New Zealand. I had to get this one and import it myself from Australia. Now, that's not good enough. If you're going to supply a market with helmets, you need to be able to get the spares. I find it very comfortable. It's got quite good airflow, a little bit noisy, but it's not too bad. On the side here, I've just got a cheap copy of the Sena Power. What's the other one? Can't even remember the brand of it now. This is just a Chinese brand one, and I find it works very, very well. I can't see the sense in spending $800 on a system when for under $100 I was able to get a system that suits my requirements, does everything I need, has very good speakers, microphone works well. I'm able to take all my phone calls and so forth, and people can hear me quite satisfactorily. I've never had an issue. Listen on my music, all that sort of carry on. So yeah, the other accessory I've got on my helmet is a light. Now, there's a couple of different versions of this type of light, and I'll tell you for why I've picked this one. The other one that's available is one that's got a decelerator built into it, whereby when you slow down braking, this acts like a brake light and comes on. A good feature, but I chose a static one with several different lights, flashing light type, a variety of flashing schemes. And the reason I chose this was motorists are well used to seeing the Lycra crowd on their bicycles with these type of bright rear lights on them, usually just blinking. So motorists are already aware of that. So simulating the same sort of style and just having a blinking light, to me, made a lot more sense than something that came on like a brake light. Now I'll show you. It comes on, it's got several different patterns. Full on, the one that I use is blinking. Now that to me looks very much like the blinking light on the back of a bicycle that most motorists are used to. So I figure you're more easily identified as a cyclist of some type, whether it be a motorcyclist or a pedal cyclist. It comes with a variety of different flashing schemes, full on and off. But that's the one that I prefer. I've found people seem to be able to recognize that when they're coming up behind, so I'll stick to that rather than a brake light styled one. So that's my helmet. Suits me. Next up, I have two different types of glove. In the summertime, I wear these short gloves. These are Kimimoto, available online. They've got reasonable protection. The only thing is it's not a leather pad in the palm, which is more ideal. But they're cheap and cheerful. They keep the worst of the bugs and all that sort of thing off the hand, and they've got reasonable protection. So that suits me fine. I wear, in this sort of weather, because it's quite cold out there, the wind chill factor is quite cold, so I wear two types of balaclava under the helmet. Just a conventional type of balaclava, and the other one that I've gotten just recently is a neck gaiter, which you can pull up and over your head. It just makes sliding the helmet on a lot better. It keeps the worst of the wind off the throat, because I like to wear this type of clothing that has a collar, and I zip up and I put the gaiter on, or the balaclava on over the top of this. It's all about layering, remember, and then my jacket over the top to lock it in place, and I'm as happy as a pig in shit. My other gloves, the ones that I predominantly wear, are a gauntlet type glove. Now, the reason I wear a gauntlet type is a lot of people don't like gauntlets, but in winter it stops the wind going up the sleeve of your jacket. Common sense, really. Again, layers. It goes over the top of the jacket for wind, and it keeps the wind from creeping up my arm sleeve. And the other thing is it's quite versatile in that leather is a bit better in the rain. It's a little bit warmer, and with the gauntlet, when it's raining, you slide the gauntlets up inside the jacket and do the jacket up around the gauntlet. And why do we do that? Because when the rain trickles down the sleeve, if you've got it on conventionally, the rain goes down the gauntlet into the fingertips, and you've got wet hands for the entire journey. So jacket sleeves over the top of, let me just demonstrate, sleeves over the top of the gauntlet, do the jacket up, then the rain just keeps on going, and you don't fill it up and end up with a bucket of water in your hands. So that's my gloves, helmet, gaiter. Another thing that I've just recently gotten, because I wear a black jacket a lot of the time, and I don't have any any day glow high vis, whatever you want to call it. I bought this, which goes on, it's a little bit like wearing a pair of braces actually. And I just put this on over the top of my black jacket, and it gives me the high vis that I require, just for a little bit of a safety thing for people coming up behind me, as well as in conjunction with the safety light on the back of my helmet. So yeah, just a little bit of bright colour just to be safe, be seen. Now that was available on Trade Me from China. Right, before I get into my jackets and everything like that, I'll show you my boots. Now, some people might think I'm crazy, but I refuse to pay anywhere from $400 to $1,500 for a pair of motorcycle boots. As soon as you put the word motorcycle on the end of anything, the price trebles, when there's some perfectly good alternatives out there. And the boot that I have chosen on this occasion is available from the warehouse. And this is a tradie steel cap leather boot. And the reason I chose this, there's two reasons. Unlike most work boots, well, a lot of work boots are now coming with a zip in the side, which makes getting off and on with your wet weathers and all your safety equipment and everything on, makes it a lot easier to get your boots off and on. The other thing is, unlike a lot of other safety boots, the tongue is integrated into the side cheeks of the boot. And why do we want that? Because a lot of boots, the tongue is completely separate all the way down. It's just stitched along the very front edge here, and the tongue is completely separate from the side cheeks of the boots. Not a good idea in the rain, because what happens is the rain hits the boot, goes down the gap there, straight into the socks, and you've got wet feet. And there's nothing worse than having to spend hours on end with wet feet. Because these tongues here are joined to the side tongue, the rain hits that. It also acts as a good barrier for the wind off your feet. But the rain hits the tongue, goes down into the gap in between, hits the side of the tongue where it's attached onto the side cheek of the boot, and trickles down, and it can get out. It can't get down into your socks and give you sodden feet. Because in cold, wet weather, cold feet and cold hands, you'll end up very, very cold and shivering on your bike very, very quickly. I think they're a lot better on a bike because they've got the steel caps, a little bit more protection. I'm very, very happy with these. Warehouse product. Keep them in mind. Okay, my wet weather gear. Now, I know there's specific wet weather gear that you can get for your bike, but I refuse to pay the prices, especially when I've got wet weather gear here at home. So I have here a conventional, ordinary, high-vis workwear jacket, which actually came with a high-vis vest inside it as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit over the top of all my gear. This is a Tornado brand. Zips up conventionally, and then it's got a wind flap. Now, the reason I like ordinary wet weather gear is it's high-vis, it's nice and baggy, so it fits over the top of my already large jacket. But the main reason is they come with a hood. For conventional wearing, tucks up into the collar, but for on the bike, ideal for putting it over the head and then the helmet on over the top. Now, why do we want to do that? It's because rain, when it hits the helmet, trickles down and goes down your neck. Really uncomfortable. Whereas if you've got a hood on that's attached to you, that's a one-piece part of your jacket, it trickles down and just carries on going downhill. It can't get in. And then I've got the matching pants, which are slightly oversized, so that I can get these over the top of my boots, because they've got they have an open ankle, which is zipped and velcroed. So ideal for getting it when you get caught out on the road and suddenly starts to, or it's going to look like it's going to rain. You can get these on without having to strip all your gear off. So that's my wet weather gear. I'll move on to my fairly basic safety equipment now, safety clothing. I have one pair of trousers that I wear with both jackets. At this stage, I can't justify buying a second pair of pants when one will do. The pants I have are 1 ton. Now these are available through, you can buy them direct off 1 ton, who are down in Taranaki. I'm not sure where they get their gear from, but I've found the brand to be very, very good. It's a textile, a little bit heavy for summer. I'm going to probably this summer purchase a 3rd jacket. I want to get myself one of the mesh ones that are totally mesh, but they still have the pads and everything built in, for safety reasons, obviously. But it lets airflow. I find I get very, very hot even when I take all the layers out of my jackets. But yeah, there's plenty of big, huge pockets. Good padding around the hips and the knees. Plenty of room around the ankles to get them over the top of boots and stuff. They have a safety, or they have a thermal layer inside them. These are just a pair of braces that I got off one of our Chinese buying sites, just to help me keep them up. My body shape is such that my hips don't keep pants up very well. They tend to slide down too easily. So I've got braces on for that reason. Then when I'm riding the Honda, I tend to wear this 1 ton jacket that goes with those set of pants, simply because it's got the red flashes and everything. It looks a little smarter on the bike. Got very good padding in the elbows. Good padding in the tops of the shoulders. It's vented quite well. I found it to be very, very good quality. Comes with 2 layers inside. I've got a thermal layer that zips in. I can take that out, and it leaves behind the waterproofing layer, and I can take that out as well and just have the jacket, which in itself is quite waterproof. Plenty of jackets. It's got a little bit of airflow, but I run very hot at the best of times, so I find it quite hot in the summer. So that's why I was suggesting that I'll probably look at getting a mesh jacket sometime in the very near future. But yeah, a nice looking jacket, sort of a cross between the streetwear and adventure jacket, but it was the red and the black that sort of attracted me. It matches the red and black decals on the bike. And last but not least, sometimes I like to wear this one, especially if I'm on the boulevard, because it's all black, and this is the one that I normally wear with the high-vis little straps here that I just showed you. RST brand, good recognised brand. Again, it's got layers in it, thermal and so forth. Good padding. I love this jacket. It's really, really comfortable. As I was explaining beforehand, I buy my safety clothing a little bit bigger so that it fits over the top of conventional clothing, so that I can peel it off and I look like a normal human being when I go visiting anywhere. So that's all my gear. That covers everything, I think. Yes. So that's where we're at, guys. I hope you found some of that informative. Any questions, let me know. If and when I get round to getting a mesh jacket, I'll model that. But yeah, that's where we're at. So thanks for joining me. If you've got any comments or questions or anything like that, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for joining me.